Hey, sports card fans, it's John, Boggs fan. I hope you're all doing well. Today's video will be my nominations for the 2022 YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame. This will be my third year voting for potential members of the Hall of Fame. And I want to thank Jake Legends Never Die for taking on the mantle as commissioner from Mike Baseball Collector. Jake, thank you. And in keeping with Jake's updated rules on who is eligible to be nominated, I also have about 4 criteria that I used in making my selections. Now, I could vote for up to 10 channels. I have chosen 8 that sort of meet my own criteria that I feel would be worthy for the Hall of Fame. The first one is they need to be passionate. They need to be passionate about their collection, about the hobby, about interacting with other YouTubers. And all these channels and YouTube creators and members of the card community, they all have passion, and you can see it in their videos, whether you see their face or whether they're just, their videos just show a screen, but they have that passion. The second one is their videos tend to always be very informative. So they don't just show cards. Hey, look what I got in the mail, or, check out this one card in my collection. They talk about the card, the background of the card, the player, the team, say a historical significance about the card, how important this card is to the hobby, or how this card fits into their collection. And it's always interesting to hear this background information on the cards and other things that are shown on these videos. The third is these channels are, for lack of a better word, entertaining. Now, I'm not talking about being flashy and great video editing and all this stuff, but I guess it's the best way to say that if I see that this one content creator has uploaded a new video, it's a video that I want to watch. So there are some out there. Now, again, I may not see every single one, but pretty much for these 8 channels, whenever they post a new video, I tend to watch it or want to watch it. So the fourth one is, for the most part, they produce consistent content. Now, it may not be a couple videos a week, or maybe not even weekly. Maybe it's one every couple weeks or so, but they take the time and effort to put out videos. And I think it's that consistency over time, especially if we're talking about a minimum of 3 years on YouTube, to have that dedication, because I know how much time it takes to put together videos, come up with what you want, record it, and do all this stuff. It's a commitment, and to be consistent by putting out, maybe multiple videos a month for 12 months for more than 3 years. That's consistency, and that's worthy of my nomination. So again, I have 8 channels that I would like to nominate. I'm going to go over them just in alphabetical order. The other thing I want to mention is my selection does not depend on their particular collection or how great I think their collection is, because we all have great collections in our own right, whatever they are, big or small, high quality, low quality, you name it. So this isn't a ranking or a judging on the person's collection per se. Now, I may have an interest in what they collect, which goes into my liking their training and so on, but I don't list these channels here solely based on what their collection or how impressive their collection is, because they're all impressive. So I wanted to get that out of the way as well. So the first channel that I would like to nominate is Big Scott 35. Now, I met Scott very briefly at last year's National. I believe I was leaving a restaurant when he was coming in, or we were waiting for tables at the same time or something like that. Had a very brief opportunity to meet him. Just like his personality on his videos, his videos are always, upbeat, happy. Now, again, he's had some videos where, as we all have, where we go on a little rant or complain about something within the hobby. But for the most part, you can tell he loves collecting. He loves the hobby. He loves interacting with other YouTubers. He's a Mets fan, so that sort of helps because that's my National League team, a big Mets fan. But overall, I just love his content. And again, when he posts stuff, I tend to want to watch it. So, Scott, you get my nomination. The second one, Diamondyard Sportscards, George. Now, the thing that I like about George's channel is the cards that he shows off. Again, he always has some sort of context, some background. There are certain players that he likes, and he explains why and how a particular card fits within his collection. He does have some very impressive cards. While he does have some modern, he leans a little bit more towards vintage, which is what I really like to watch. And the other thing, he has a great YouTube voice, so it's always entertaining and like relaxing to watch his videos, see what cards he has to show off his recent purchases or what he recently got back from grading. And again, the background that he gives and the information he gives on the cards that he shows off is really excellent. So, George, you have my vote. The third channel, Hitman23, Mike. What I love about Mike, he's again very energetic on his videos. He's always exciting to show you what he's picked up, how it fits in his collection, and he has some very interesting side collections. Yeah, he's a big Mattingly fan and Yankees fan, but there are other oddball things that he collects. They're like with interesting last names that have to do with food or other things. I'm just sort of off the wall, and I love that. And so he'll pick up cards where I say, well, what's the importance of this card? And he says, oh, well, this fits my such and such collection. I'm like, well, that's awesome that there are collectors out there that there's so many different ways to collect, and he's found some very unique ways. So again, his videos are always entertaining. So Mike, you get my vote. Number 4, Lefty NDV10, Drew. Now, Drew's channel, he primarily collects pre-war tobacco cards. While I don't have many in my collection, I've always been fascinated by that era of baseball cards. I believe they're many works of art, and he has an extensive collection and knowledge of that era of baseball cards. So I always enjoy his channel. Very informative, very knowledgeable, and he explains the players, whether it's a major league team, or in the case of tobacco, there could be some minor league teams that these players play for that are in the sets. So he talks about them, talks about maybe their significance in baseball, because a lot of us don't know much about that era of baseball beyond like the Ty Cobbs and so on. And it's always interesting with these tobacco cards, the different backs and variations, and he talks about all that stuff. Very informative, very entertaining, very knowledgeable. So Drew, you get my vote. Number 5, Legends Never Die. Jake, not only for taking on the mantle, which itself shows that you have a passion for the hobby, passion for collecting, passion for those in this YouTube card community, for agreeing to take over this Hall of Fame voting and balloting and all that stuff. But beyond that, Jake is one of those purists. I'm not sure if he even owns a graded vintage card, and he primarily collects vintage. He's one of those collectors that, sort of unlike me, but is one that is just happy to have the card, regardless of the grade. I mean, it could be a beat up copy, whatever, but he wants the card for his collection. And over time, he's completed a large number of vintage sets and some that I'm sure he's really, really close to completing. Again, very generous, supportive. His videos are always informative and entertaining. And so, Jake, despite the fact that you are a Braves fan and the nemesis of my Mets in the National League, you have my vote. Number 6, New York Yanks fan 7, Vince. Now, beyond, again, Vince's extremely high-end and impressive collection, what I like about Vince's channel and his method of collecting is he goes for quality over quantity. Now, which is almost somewhat the opposite of me, especially with my Wade Boggs collection. I'm more quantity, trying to get as many different and so on. And with the vintage, is more price point and all that stuff. He takes the time to find really great looking examples of the cards that he wants to collect. Beyond that, he explains maybe not so much the significance of the card or the player, but how it fits into his collection. So he'll focus on different areas. He recently completed a Nolan Ryan run. So he'll have various aspects of his collection, and you'll see it in his videos and how he is going about trying to complete that collection. Plus, recently, I've seen what he looks like. A lot of us, again, for years, didn't know what Vince looked like, and which was fine. And again, some YouTubers just aren't comfortable having their face, on the camera and just show their cards, which is fine. But it's really refreshing to be able to see Vince on camera. I love the videos that he's recently been doing with Joe Silver Jackify and comparing their collections. You can see more of his personality and passion and interest in these cards, and it's really great. So, Vince, you have my vote. Number 7 is one that there are others here, but one that I voted on for last year is Oakland A's 915, Eric. Now, Eric is a collector after my own heart. He is primarily a super collector. In his case, Mark McGwire. Now, he does collect other players and other things, but primarily he's a Mark McGwire super collector. So I always enjoy watching his videos because they're somewhat similar to mine in my mindset. So I'll see some cards that he picks up, and he'll explain the rarity of the card, how hard it was to find, or how it fits into a missing part of his checklist or a card that he needs. And we always compare back and forth to some of these great 90s inserts that either Wade Boggs and or Mark McGwire are in. I'll complain, wow, I'll comment, wow, that was a great looking insert, too bad Boggs isn't in it, or vice versa. Hey, Boggs is in that one as well. And so we have great interaction. Very informative. Again, talks about the background of the McGwire cards, how hard it was to come by, or what this card means to him for his collection. So, Eric, you have my vote. And the final one, Wildcat72 Cardboard, Scott. Now, Scott doesn't do anything fancy with his videos. Turns the camera on, says, hey, I went to a local card show, or I picked this up on eBay, and here it is to add to his collection. But again, he's another one who gives more information, talks about the player, talks about the card, talks about the team, the set. There's some years that he's trying to collect, say, the Hall of Famers on or something like that. So he'll give us updates on, hey, this is another one that adds to my 56 Hall of Fame run or whatever. And again, he'll read the back of cards. I mean, how rare is it that you have a channel that shows off a card, and they may flip it over, you know, to show the back because maybe the serial number's there or whatever, but they just show off the front of the card. Scott, when he has his videos, and again, his videos typically only show off maybe a card or two. They're not very long videos, but he'll show the front and back, and most often, if there is some narrative or information on the back of the card, he'll read it. So you actually get to know a little bit more about that card, the player, and so on. So Scott, you have my vote. So there you are, my 8 nominations for the 2022 YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame. I will have links to their channels in the description of this video. And good luck to all the nominees.